What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? It is tournament time, baby, for college baseball, for ACC baseball, for NC State Pac-9 baseball, baby. It is time. We are rolling. We are red hot, and we are ready for it, y'all. We are ready to see if we can finally get this monkey off our back for baseball and finally get the ACC championship we have been waiting for quite some time, especially I know Coach Avent, he would love to finally add the ACC championship trophy to his trophy case that he has for sure, and put
I think
nice,
all state fans just want to have it for him.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt.
100%.
I mean, there's no doubt. And especially, being that, only has, a couple more years, in terms of his in-state head coach, baseball coaching career, what a better bow to put on it than a nice ACC championship trophy. That's what I'm sitting here saying. So, and I think this is the team that can do it. And we'll kind of dive more into it here as we'll talk a little bit about, what NC State baseball is going to be seeing in this tournament, what our predictions are for each of the pools, and just give a little bit of predictions from NC State. And again, what does NC State need to do to go and advance to the semifinals to win it all, etc. So with that being said, just a little bit of background here. NC State finished as the number 3 overall seed with the 18 and I believe it was 11 ACC record. And right now has ACC series wins over every single top 7 team besides us. So because we can't beat ourselves.
We have in the past.
We have, but we can't compete against ourselves.
Yes, we can. We can totally beat ourselves.
And so in our pool, we have also Duke and Virginia Tech. And, and we'll kind of break down each of them. But the first thing that stands out to me is, Duke, has been a team that has been a year after year top 25 team, definitely not a program you can sleep on. And then Virginia Tech is a team that just earlier this season started off 10-3 in the ACC, and just absolutely just the wheels fell off in a worse fashion, losing in a walk-off home run against their rival Virginia to get swept this last weekend. So I don't know if that's necessarily going to fire Virginia Tech up or really just kind of be the knife, the straw that broke the camel's back. But Greg, what are your thoughts on the pool? Do you think that, we drew a favorable one, or do you think this is going to be a tough path to cross? No,
I love this pool. I think this is the pool that you want to be in. The only other one you might make the argument for is the Clemson, if you'd swap out us and Clemson. But other than that, this is right where you want to be. Ironically, I think Carolina's got the hardest one, and they're the number 1 seed. And we'll probably talk about it here in just a little bit, just because of who they could potentially be facing.
Hated one.
I love it. This is a team where we've taken 2 of 3, and we'll get into it a little bit further. We've taken 2 of 3 out of Duke. We haven't played Virginia Tech, but this is a team that struggled the last 2 months of ACC play. They started off kind of hot. In fact, we'll get into it, but I got a couple stats for Virginia Tech, but I really like this pool.
And Macon too, before I bring you in on your thoughts on the pool, just as a reminder to everybody of basically how the tournament basically works is that there's 4 pools, 3 teams in each pool. And basically if all teams tie at they basically all 3 teams play each other in a round robin style. So we will play Duke will play Virginia Tech will play NC State. And basically, if all teams finish 1-1, then the highest seed automatically advances to the semifinals. So that's why it's such a big deal to have one of those top 4 seeds in the ACC tournament. So, and the other nice thing about it too, which we'll talk a little bit about, is that Duke actually plays Virginia Tech first. So,
there's a caveat to that. Yeah, there's a caveat to that.
They do, but why caveat?
If we all end up 1-1, as long as we beat the winner of Duke and Virginia Tech, then Correct. We're in. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that as well. So basically, Virginia Tech and Duke play on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Whichever team wins, all we really care about in terms of advancing is to beat the team that wins that game. So if Duke beats Virginia Tech, all we really care about in terms of advancing, all we have to do is beat Duke. That's all that really matters. If we lose Virginia Tech, assuming that Duke wins, then in terms of advancing, who cares? As long as you beat Duke, then you're advancing on. But Macon, what are your thoughts on this pool with Duke and Virginia Tech?
Yeah, I agree with Greg. I like it a lot. I think it's interesting is the last AC series that Duke won was against Virginia Tech. So, yeah,
it was closer,
I like
though.
it. Yeah, it was close. You said, say it one more time, you said it was closer?
Yeah, we can talk about it here in a minute when we get into it.
Yeah.
But it was closer than the 2-1 margin says it was.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Virginia Tech was ranked. I mean, Virginia Tech was ranked at one point in time.
Right.
If you want to remember that, I'm looking back in April at this series. I am cheating. I'm looking at Duke's schedule right now. Virginia Tech was ranked 23rd in the country as of April 21st. So not that long ago, but actually a month ago, minus a day. So, yeah, I like Hogan. I will say I watched Virginia Tech, Virginia. Then that was a crazy good game going to the 13th inning. And I like Virginia Tech did a lot of really good things. Baseball can be a fluky thing. You could lose anything, but I like it Virginia Tech and Duke play first because that way they can get their best pitchers out of the way. And unless you're going to play some chess and you're going to save them, but I don't think you do that if you're Virginia Tech or Duke. And
I know you have to go 2-0 to win the bracket. You're gonna put your best foot
forward, right? So
yeah,
I like that. I think it sets it well for State. State gets a night game. A lot of fans will be there. Granted, Virginia Tech and Duke is not far away either, so there'll be some fans there for those teams. But I think it does set it for State. I think to Greg's point, the getting Wake as your draw that sucks for UNC. I actually think more competitive. I think that Virginia, Florida State, the pool D, and Georgia Tech is probably the most competitive.
That's the most open one, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Anybody can win that. I wouldn't be surprised Georgia Tech won it. So I like the way this is set up for State, and the fact that they have to play. If they had to go play Clemson, Louisville, or Miami in the semifinals, I like that too. I know Clemson. I don't know how's Clemson done lately. Does anybody you guys have any idea on that?
Well, they got swept by by Wake Forest
that's
2
right.
weeks
So
ago.
Yeah. And they just swept Boston College. What everybody swept Boston College.
See, State is the best playing team out of those 6 right now, and I like that. And that's where you want to be, even though you're the 3 seed. So, yeah.
So
real quick, I want to bring Michael in here real quick. I do want to ask, because this is a question that I've had multiple State fans ask me, and then Greg, I'll let you take over jumping in some of the stats here. But so since Virginia Tech and Duke play first, okay, you know which team you're going to play against. Is it basically in Elliot Avon's head that whichever team wins, that's the game that Sam Highfill starts in?
That's how I would approach it. Yeah. I mean, if it's Virginia Tech, that means it's the first game Wednesday. If it's Duke, that means it's the second game Thursday. But yeah, I that's absolutely how I would approach it. I think State still wants to win both games. This point we're trying to get a top 8 seed. Yeah. Right. So, RPI wise, even a win. Even if the win against Virginia Tech is meaningless in ACC tournament standings, that's still, an RPI bump. So, but yeah, I think you absolutely save Highfill for.
So then, how do you lead off with your pitchers? Do you go you save Whitaker?
It gets interesting. It gets really interesting.
Do you save Whitaker? Do you save Whitaker? Because I don't think you go Whitaker. Because if you got to go semis and you've already used Highfill, I think you want him back there. But
I could see a bullpen approach to the game. You got a guy like Schaffner who just pitched really nicely last weekend. You could see him get some innings. You probably don't see Marone on a kind of a shorter notice. You kind of want it. You kind of want it to maybe be Duke because then Sam throws on 7 days full of rest. Not that I don't think Wednesday would be that big of a difference. But here's the thing that you could go some bullpen because if we advance, we have a day off on Friday to give our relievers and pitchers a day of rest. So you can approach it in a number of different ways. And that's kind of the luxury of how the tournament sets up and being a number 1 seed.
Yeah. I mean, because really, at the end of the day, there's really 3 games you need to win the ACC championship, and you have 3 weekend starters. So I'm sitting here saying basically whichever game doesn't matter from an ACC tournament perspective, you don't see Whitaker, Dom, or Sam. You play Marone or whatever. You take, just like you said, a bullpen style approach, knowing you still really want to win that game, but there's no way you can waste a weekend starter, a proven starter, on a game that in terms of ACC tournament play doesn't matter. And because even if you still win that, and so assuming you go 2-0, but then you lose to Clemson, assuming that Clemson makes it in the semis, then you're still leaving it up to the committee to put you as a top 8 seed. So that's why I'm sitting there saying, like, you don't necessarily go all out on that game that doesn't matter, because then that's not going to be the deciding factor on if NC State's a top 8 seed or not. That just helps.
Go ahead, Michael, because I got another point.
I think Marone or Consiglio. Starts the other midweek game. Which, they don't think
either one of them
either way.
Either one of them didn't play. So I almost feel like that's what you do. I think, like your point, it depends on what Duke Virginia Tech game does. Obviously, your state, I think you would prefer Virginia Tech to win that game, particularly because if you can play a guy like Highfill, you get him a day ahead of schedule, and more rest if you have to use him later. So
here, I'll give the argument why you don't want to use Marone necessarily, because he's matched up nicely behind Whitaker. You got Consiglio nicely behind Fritton because you got lefty, and then Duden's played nicely behind Highfield. So like that's the perfect matchup. If you're going to try to go to a 2 to 3 pitcher appearance for a game. So
right.
Again, but it's a luxury. It's a nice luxury to have for Coach Avent for sure.
If you're playing Wednesday and then you're still playing Sunday, I mean, you can bring whoever back pitched on Wednesday.
Depends how many innings they pitch, right?
Yeah.
So do you max out what you can get out of Highfill, or max out what you can get of like a Dom? Because I mean, I feel like you should, because you're there to win the games. But
any starter, you have a pretty much slight to almost none chance, I feel like, of bringing them back in 3-4 days later. I mean, just like you said, it depends on how many pitches they've thrown. And I mean, typically from a starter, I mean, unless you're pulling them like the second or third inning, you're more likely not going to see that.
I think that's still a good option.
But I can see us doing what we did against Norfolk State a few weeks ago, where Marone got 4 1/3, 4 2/3 through 52 pitches and got him out.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was available Sunday, to your point, Michael.
Yeah. Then what happens in what did Highfield pitch on Thursday against Wake?
He was around 80, 90,
right?
Yeah, how many innings is that? How many innings that last him?
It doesn't matter. It matters how many pitches he threw.
Yeah. I know. I'm just kind of curious. Okay. So like, you can get.
He's just trying to stretch the game out. So we're trying to figure out how many pitches.
Yeah, he's saying, because I think that's the kind of thing that Avent and Christ are going to have to be mindful of during the thing, because it is a game of, okay, we could exhaust him all the way here, but do we want him later? Do we pull him now? That kind of thing.
Well, here's a couple of things, and let's go ahead and I think maybe segue. This is a good point to segue to Virginia Tech and Duke. Yep. It's going to be interesting to see who Duke throws, because, gosh dang, I can never say his name. Go ahead, Michael. How do you say his name? Santorini? What is it? Santucci. Thank you. There's no guarantee he's going to pitch in this game. So if he's not pitching because he's injured, there's rumors that he may or may not pitch in the ACC tournament, which, I mean, if I'm Duke, you're pretty much locked up. You're probably not getting a 1 seed. You're probably going to end up being – the only way you're getting a 1 seed as Duke is if you run this thing. I think they're too far gone.
Say 1 seed,
and they're going to have to put their best foot forward on the first game. They're going to have to put their best foot forward in that first game. So
right. So if he's not going to go, that means Higgins is their presumable number 1, because he was the number 2 against us. I'm assuming if that stays the same. So that backs everybody up for Duke. So we're in a really good spot. And then kind of what I was talking about earlier is, yes, Duke took 2 of 3, but 2 of those games were 11-inning games. All right. So they split those 11-inning games. And then Virginia Tech had a 9-4 lead in the rubber game and ended up losing 13-10. So Virginia Tech has played Duke close. So when I was kind of talking about earlier, there's no guarantee Duke gets through this thing.
Yep. And your point, they've kind of collapsed lately, right? So
right, because they did it against Virginia on Saturday.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah, but so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how we get out of this.
Well, and again, so this recording will come out before the game starts against Duke. But if you're watching this after the Virginia Tech and Duke game started, then you'll know some of this more than us. But anyway, but yeah, no, I think for me, looking at, first of all, the stats wise, it's kind of interesting that in terms of batting average, in terms of ERA, that we're actually third to Duke and Virginia Tech in both those categories in terms of batting average and ERA. So you say, well, how have we played so much better than if they're statistically better than us in the two main areas in baseball, which is batting average and ERA? And I would say that first of all, these stats are over an entire season. While yes, like earlier in the season, there was talks about, are we moving on from Avon to Coach Hart after this season? And it has quickly switched to, this has been Coach Avon's best coaching job of his career. So I immediately go ahead and say that I don't have the stats in terms of basically after the Louisville game on, but I mean, I would say that would be my first thing I would say.
It's obvious. I mean, both Sam and Fritton finished in the top 10 in batting average against. So, it was always a matter of what plagued us the most in the early part of the season was the walks. And we just put too many damn guys on. And like, you look at our pitchers, they don't hit well against our pitchers, especially lately. The freshmen, the three freshmen have just been sensational. It was putting people on. It was the foot traffic on the bases that were killing us, because they just get a walk or two, a stolen base here or there, a little error, and a sac fly, and it's a run. So we've done a really, really good job of cleaning a lot of that early stuff up.
Yeah, agreed. So go ahead, Macon.
No, I'm just looking at guys. I'm just looking at individual players to watch out for in our pool, just to call out a couple guys.
Ben Watson.
Yeah, he leads the ACC in batting average at 414. He's not a guy who's going to hit a lot of home runs. He's got 4 on the season, but he gets a lot of hits. He's got 89 hits, 19
Dude was a
doubles.
D3 player too.
Yeah, 44 RBIs. Not as that's not the big number. His big thing is that 414. And then, kind of staying with Virginia Tech here, going down the list, you've got, by the way, and Ben Watson is their center fielder. You've got Chris Canizaro for Virginia Tech, a left fielder, batting 346. Those are the two best guys. But let me see here what his home run numbers are. He is at, is that right? That's hits. He is at 12 home runs on the season. So he's probably more your power guy a little bit for them. But then Duke has got Ben Miller at a 383 batting average, 13 home runs on the season, 75 hits. And really that's their main guy. I can go back. The second best guy they've got hitting is Zach Morris, their second baseman, 335.
Base out, baby.
Yeah, 15 home runs. So it's not. I think Ben Watson's the guy at Virginia Tech. So if you're gonna have to get past him and Canizaro for Virginia Tech, but that's it. I don't know how you guys mentioned the pitchers. So Santucci, he may not play for them. Virginia Tech's the guy. Brett Renfro is the guy for Virginia Tech. He's got six wins and 3 losses, with a 4.33 ERA. He's
so let's kind of move.
I want to also just throw a random fact in here too. There's a former NC State player on Virginia Tech, Eddie Eisert. He was with us last year, so there is a former transfer.
Go ahead, Layton. Sorry, I was just going through like offense and defense. Who's some guys that stand out in our pool?
Yeah, no, and that was good. And so that really kind of leads me to my next thing in terms of, if NC State is going to get to the semifinals, what's going to be the reason? Like, is it just playing our game, or do you think that we need to go beyond
some of it is luck.
that?
In any championship winning scenario, some of it's luck. So let's just throw that in there. So
especially in essentially a one and done, especially in a one and done situation.
One game scenarios. It's I think bullpen. I think
it's a big thing.
The bullpen gave up 1 run the whole weekend against Wake. So
yep.
and
that was
that. Like the starters are going to give you at least a quality outing. They're not
4 to 6.
You're going to be in the game, right? You're going to be in the game when they leave the game. It's then going to be, the bullpen.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is, how short are these leashes going to be in these one and done situations? How long do you go to, in a regular season game and you got, a weekend series, you have to manage pitchers, differently. And of course you still have to manage them in these situations, but how much leeway are you going to let guys to work out of situations, especially the freshmen with this being their first time around? Is the moment going to be too big? They've done a wonderful job up until this point, but this is their first real taste of big boy ball, if you will.
Yeah. Yep. And I like a guy like Consiglio did that against Clemson, right? And that was his breakout moment. So,
Duden left the bases loaded the other night against Wake. I mean, that was a high pressure situation. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not been too big yet.
Yeah, but that's been really special outings for them. I think, to me, I think you guys are kind of touching on the pitching a little bit there for the offense. Like, there's some guys who I feel like could still step up even more. Like, I think a guy like Eli Serrano who leads off, but he's been kind of offensively at times. And I think getting big outings from him. I feel like the bottom of the lineup has done pretty well. But honestly,
absolutely,
I kind of almost want to lean on like your power hitters. Like they gotta get the big hits, man, and they kind of did lately. But I really almost wonder if that's being undersold a little bit. Like getting those big hits there and cashing them in. With Kozar or Pennington or Makarevich or whoever it is, like, yeah, they're going to make this content on the ball. So,
well, and needs Souls to continue to get better too. Just like I said during the live show, this was a guy that used to be your clear leadoff hitter before he got injured, and so I think just continuing to work back to that form, continuing to gain confidence, continuing to get those big hits. If you can get that from a 9-hole hitter, that's going to put you in a really dangerous spot. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, for me, I actually like him at the bottom. Because he has that leadoff mentality. He's got to take some pitches in the 9-hole, as evident to the walk the other night. And so he's not your prototypical 9 hitter where you have to put him in there because you have to bat 9. He is a guy that can slash. He's got some speed. He's got a little pop. Mm-hmm. I'm not mad at that because Serrano last year was batting like 2 or 3 in the lineup a lot of the time. Heck, he even cleaned up for a little bit early in the season. But so this is just a steady lineup. I think, Michael, you said it in the live stream. It's not a lineup that's gonna hit for high average. They're not gonna hit for a lot of pop. They just find ways to get on. And I think a lot of it with this team is just timing. Like they've had very timely hits. Again, like I said, putting the ball in play, we've relied a little bit on other teams making, miscues and then just capitalizing on those miscues. This has very much been a team of opportunity up to this point.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah. So, Michael, I want to ask, and then I'll kind of ask the rest of the crew as well. But predictions: do you think NC State makes it to the semifinals and wins the Pool C bracket?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick against us right now, even unbiasedly. I mean, like, State is clearly one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and getting that top seed is such an advantage. Like we said, I mean, you really only have to go 1-1. You have to win 1 game against the winner of the first game, so that's just a huge advantage. Yeah,
something we haven't really talked about either is the field dimensions at Truist Field. It's 315 down the right field line. We've got a lot of lefties. If you can crank that thing. Pull it.
That's a good point.
You could be looking at some stuff. I don't know if how the ball carries there in Charlotte, so it'll be interesting to see the first couple of games to see how it plays. But 400 to deep center, 330 down the left field line, so it's probably 375, 380 in the power alleys. So I think the dimensions will play well for this pitching staff.
Yeah. What's our right field line?
That's a good question.
330 something.
Damn.
325, 330, somewhere in there. I know. For us, outfield, center field is 400.
What was that, Michael?
Yeah.
I said I'm surprised you didn't know that off the top of your head.
Oh, I know it's 400 deep.
400 center, yeah.
Yeah, that one I know.
Well, so while you guys look that up, the 2 points which I'll make first and foremost is that we do actually have a series win over Duke, but keeping in mind that we actually won that series back in late March. So even still before we really started to really kind of hit our stride and really figure a lot of these things out. So I think we're a much better team than Duke saw back during the March 22nd and 24th weekend. But also, too, the second thing I would say is that since both of the games that we're playing are at night, I think that's going to play an advantage for us in terms of having a great NC State fan-led atmosphere. I think it's going to be a very, very NC State heavy atmosphere for both these games. So that's definitely part of it too. So again, and then for Virginia Tech wise, I mean, you know, I just don't see what Virginia Tech put against Virginia. I just don't see, unless we just fall apart. I think that if we play our game, you win against Virginia Tech in, you know, not killing fashion, but in comfortable fashion. So that's at least my thought. So yeah, that's why I'm okay with if Virginia Tech can pull off the upset versus Duke. But you know, I truly do believe it's going to be Duke versus NC State. That's going to be the game that matters. Greg, anything else in terms of? I mean, do either of y'all disagree or that
no,
NC State's going to win it all in the Pool C area?
No, I feel comfortable.
I think Duke and Virginia Tech have a little bit bigger hurdle to climb, and I think them playing first and exhausting their best pitchers first is going to help State.
Right, because that game means something.
Matchups.
So they may go deep into the bullpen.
Yeah.
Yep.
So real quick,
I think.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
What? So the only thing I was going to say is, so what you're saying, Greg, is you want that Duke Virginia Tech game to go 17, 18 innings, right?
Yeah.
You're dang right.
Give
me that 13 inning affair that they had the other night against UVA. Burn some pitchers.
That's right. Keep going.
Real quick to close the loop on the dimensions. We are 330, like Macon said, down the right field line. So this is 15 feet closer. And like I said, we're very heavy on lefties.
Good lefties. Yeah.
Yeah. Center's the same, and right field is actually longer at Truist than it is at Doak. 330 versus 320. So I like those dimensions. So just something to think about. Just a little tidbit, miscellaneous factoid.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, y'all, as I'm struggling with my daggone light tonight. But anyway, so assuming we make it to the semis, then basically you face the winner of the Pool B bracket, which includes Clemson, Miami, and Louisville. And Clemson is the obvious favorite to come out of that bracket. But, I mean, what are y'all's thoughts? Because I think y'all were saying that you know, that doesn't seem like that we actually had the easiest bracket in y'all's heads. But what about Clemson, Louisville, and Miami really stands out to y'all?
I mean, I would pick Clemson as well. It's just so hard unless you get a pool, any of these pools, unless you get like the UNC Wake matchup. That's a tough. But like most of them, it's like if you're the top seed, it's hard to pick against the top seed just with the tiebreaker scenario.
Yeah, but I feel like, honestly, Clemson got the best draw of any of these pools, personally. I think Louisville, Miami are kind of duds right now. I saw Louisville play against Carolina. And I know that, but that feels like a while ago now. It's just, I don't see Louisville winning that. Just the way I've seen them play lately.
Yeah, Clemson took 2 or 3 from both of them in the regular season. So you would think that'll play out the same. And again, you know, because they have the luxury of playing those teams after they've played each other, right? I think I have that. Yeah, because Miami and Georgia, Miami and Louisville play each other. So
that's the very first game.
Yeah, but it's weird because then they come back. So they play Tuesday and they don't come back until Friday. So you can burn pitchers in that game and then still bring them back for that matchup. That will matter on
side note,
Friday.
Well, how did Florida State they weren't the
second seed in the D pool? Yeah,
the second game of the day. That's crazy.
Yeah, they play the second game of the day on Tuesday. They don't play again until Friday.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you talk about a team that lines up really well. Is Florida State. they line up really good for their play.
Yeah, I think going back to your original question, Leighton. Yeah, I mean, I think it's Clemson going to be coming out of that pool, and the way State played against Clemson, I think Clemson is still kind of playing a little shaky at times since we played them, and I don't know which way it will go, to be honest with you, in that Clemson series.
Here's your best hope. You hope that Louisville beats Miami, and that game on Friday for Clemson means something, so they've got to burn some players. Yeah. Again, that's the theme of this. It's timing of these games and how they relate to you.
That's true. Well, I guess it's just like you were saying, because basically we play, our last game would be Thursday, while Clemson would have to play again on Friday. So meaning that, just like you said, they could be a good bit less fresh than us potentially. Yeah. But the other thing which I would say,
need to win. It wouldn't be their meaningless game on Friday. Right. It would be a game they need to win.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So in your rooting bingo card, you want Louisville to beat Miami because you want that game to matter.
I mean, I'm telling you this right now, that if anybody's a ACC baseball fan, a baseball fan in general, you need to go to those Friday games.
Friday games are going to be what's up.
It's good. Yeah.
Florida State, Virginia, Louisville, Clemson, and Wake Forest, UNC. Whew, that's a doozy of a schedule. Yeah. But the other thing which I would say in terms of why I feel confident that Clemson's going to come out is kind of the point I was saying earlier, the fact that Louisville or Miami, neither of those guys are local. So, and Clemson is, just an hour or two bump away from Charlotte. So it's going to be a very Clemson heavy crowd. So, that's going to play in their hands too. But so feeling good about that. So between UNC, because I think this is a legitimate conversation, even though you might say, well, wait, we're talking about the number 1 seed and the number 4 seed. Which one, guys, do you think has the better
number 8 seed
chance of? Well, no. But like saying, so you'll get my question. Okay. So basically, we've talked about the number 2 seed pool. We've talked about the number 3 seed pool. Yeah. Between the number 1 seed pool and the number 4 seed pool, which is UNC and Virginia, which top 4 seed do you think has a better chance of getting upset?
It's 100%
not
Carolina.
Make it to the semis.
It's 100% Carolina.
Yeah,
really?
You think?
It's Burns. You're going to face Burns more than likely on Friday.
Yeah, but Virginia probably faces Arnold or whatever his name is.
Okay, who are you more scared of, Arnold or Burns?
And
I get it. I get the Carolina. The Carolina crowd's going to but the Carolina crowd's going to say we scored 6 off of Burns. Well, he's going to make adjustments. You know what I mean? Like that coaching staff's got to make adjustments. This isn't the same part. I'm just curious, was that game in Carolina or Wake?
I don't know.
And the reason I say that is Wake is a home run friendly park. And so, and Carolina's got some bombers on that team. So that's kind of the argument I'm throwing out there.
So you're saying that Wake Forest will go the conservative route, even in a must-win game versus Pitt on Wednesday.
Yes. They have a really good pitching staff.
They did it against us. They didn't put Burns out there game 1. They put him out there game 2, right?
Well, you would think they're going to throw out Hurdle or Massey.
Kind of a bad example, but
you figure they're going to throw Hurdle or Massey against them, right? And then you have either Hurdle or Massey to back up Burns if you want to pull one of those guys out of a bullpen situation, because their bullpen wasn't great against us. So, I would imagine it's all hands on deck for that. So again, that's just my take. And who knows? We don't even know who these no one's saying who these pitchers are going to be yet. So we're completely speculating at this point.
Right. And I don't think Hartle would pitch for Wake because he pitched Saturday against us, right? That would be Tuesday.
That's what I'm saying. Right. You saw what I'm saying. You probably would maybe bring Massey in the first game and then bring Hurdle behind Burns.
But how many pitches did Hartle play? He only did 2 innings.
He pitched a decent amount.
A decent. I think it was 5-ish innings.
And so again, it's Pitt only had 10 wins, 9 wins. They were like 10-20. They were like 10-20.
In the ACC.
Yeah.
So for the sake of time, I just want to ask, is anybody picking an upset of either UNC or Virginia?
I'm taking both underdogs in that.
Yeah,
I kind of think I'll take Wake and FSU. Yeah.
I think I'm going to actually, I think Wake, I could totally see Wake getting the upset there. I just think UNC is just really daggum good right now, and I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go Florida State over Virginia.
Good pitching beats good hitting.
I
I'm just
agree.
saying.
One game situation.
I mean, trust me. You know what? For the sake of the fact that it's Carolina, I'm going to pick Wake. So,
but two things I would say that is going in Wake's favor is, first of all, they just got swept by some baseball team over the weekend, so I'm sure they're going to go into this tournament with a huge chip on their shoulder. Secondly, Burns is going to go into that UNC game with a huge chip on his shoulder, just like Greg was pointing out, he gave up 6 runs against UNC last time he saw them. So those two things combined.
I'll give you another one. I'll give you a third. Wake Forest is still hoping to host a regional.
They're desperate in some ways. You could look at it that way.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, Greg. Very good point. So yes, Wake in the upset. Calling it.
UNC. So you think Florida State gets the upset over UVA? Because I do.
I do. I think FSU, like to Michael's point, Arnold will probably pitch that game. They've got a lot of hitting. UVA's pitching is very suspect. They can hit. Their pitching is what's kind of doing them in right now.
But it's gonna be a great game. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome tournament. I can't wait. In fact, I saw it, but I didn't for Friday. I didn't process it. So I might go to Friday just to go. I mean, that's my birthday, so I might just go do baseball all day.
So last thing, Macon, and then I'll let you let the last thing, and then for 6 time we need to move on. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just am kind of curious, like, what are the matchups here that are, like, you said Friday games are the must-watch matchups, but is there any other matchups that are like, man, this is going to be a great game?
UNC versus Pitt for sure. Yeah, no.
I think the UVA Georgia Tech game will be kind of interesting.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's sneaky.
Georgia Tech,
they're fighting for their lives. They're fighting. They're a hungry team. They're very much a bubble team.
I'll be honest with you. I really think any of those evening games in our pool are going to be fun games.
I think all the evening games are just really good quality ball games.
Yeah.
So that's a little true.
Nice thing too. The weather's supposed to be really good this week, so hopefully we don't get any delays. And because if you get a delay somewhere, that throws a monkey wrench.
Sure, because I thought I saw it was going to get. It was like kind of getting close to.
Did it change? At least
going later in the week, I saw some like weather in the forecast being a little stormy.
I hadn't looked today. Yesterday it looked clean, so that could be a thing. But
yeah, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday during the day, scattered thunderstorms.
It's North Carolina. It's going to change.
Yeah, it could change, totally change. But that's what I'm saying now.
Got it.
Yeah. So now for the sake of predicting, so I think we're all going to pretty much agree on, FSU, Wake Forest, NC State, and Clemson is your Final Four. What do y'all think are legitimate chances are of beating Clemson?
So at that point, it's just about who's throwing at this point, right?
Yeah, 50-50, really.
Yeah, I mean that's hard to predict.
That's really kind of I'll kind of summarize it for you perfectly. That then at this point, once you get to the Final Four, it depends what's happened so far. Right. It depends what way the winds blow.
So let me ask you this then. So let's go the other way around. Let's say Wake Forest, UVA. Whose bullpen do you trust more? Because Wake Forest looked pretty rough, but you're saying that UVA is a suspect.
Well, I don't think they're going to get past Florida State on Friday. I think Florida State's going to be.
Oh, I mean, Florida State. I don't know. I was thinking, yeah. So I guess
Wake Forest.
You think Florida State or Wake Forest wins?
Yeah, I think Florida State wins.
They got some pitching injuries too, right?
They do. But I think
a third game against us.
What I saw against Wake, I was like, I don't know, man.
I mean, Wake's got hitters. They probably got 3 dudes that are probably first round of mid-second round. Yeah, I think but. That third baseman for what is this? Smith? I think Cam Smith is his name, and you got Tipton.
Yeah,
they got hitters too. So again, it's just who do you have left that can pitch innings? It really becomes down to that. But I think if you're just going to look from a hitting standpoint, I think Florida State's probably got it going on.
Yeah, agreed.
That 5 o'clock game against. If we really think it's State versus Clemson. I mean, honestly, if it was Wake Forest versus Florida State, any one of those games, that's going to be great baseball games.
Oh, yeah. Semifinals are usually pretty good, whoever's playing.
Yeah.
So for the last thing, let's answer the question everybody's asking is, what is it going to take for us to be a top 8 national seed? Like, what is the line? If we get to this point, we're feeling pretty good. If we don't get this, we're not feeling particularly
you're 12th
great.
right now, right? And you're going to have to
10,
beat
12.
Yeah, you're probably 10, 12.
Well, I'm saying right now, let's D1 have us at, because that's what has been going off the rankings so far. It's 12.
In RPI or because RPI matters more.
They had us for national seeding. I think that's what
national seeding.
Yeah, he's talking about the national seeding.
Yeah. So
D1 baseball had number 11.
Yeah.
You're not playing any teams that are ranked higher than you at this point in our pool.
Florida State. Oh no, in the pool. Sorry.
In our pool. So if you get a chance to play Clemson and you beat them, I think if you want to feel good about locking it up, I think you got to make it to the championship game.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, and that's why, like, and again, at the end of the day, y'all, give me an ACC championship. If you want an ACC championship, yes, you're
win
top
and
ACC,
just
guaranteed.
remove all the
It
conversation.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you face at that point. Like with our resume, if you add a ACC championship on it, period, like that's top 8. It doesn't matter, in my opinion, who you face to get there. Is because, I mean, you're going to face good teams. You may not face Clemson. You may not face UNC. But then, if you win an ACC championship, you're going to be top 8.
I know they say
that first and foremost.
I know they say be careful what you wish for, but I want Florida State in a championship to get that third game to say FU, or excuse me, FSU.
Oh, I like it, Greg. I see what you did there.
I didn't even think about that, Greg.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. No.
I'm sure they got Turks and a grounds crew in Charlotte, so we won't need to worry about that.
Yeah, Greg's going to be standing by to make sure. I want to see that tarp go over that field.
Yeah. So really, here's why I'm going to stand in terms of summary, and I'll let you guys tell me if you agree or if you would change it a little bit. So really, for me, if you win the pool, you advance semis for sure. Got to do that. If you face Clemson in the semis, win that game, and you're feeling really, really good about your chances of top 8 seed. If Clemson loses, then at that point, I think you got to win it all, unless you face UNC.
If you're matching up against Louisville and Miami, again, teams that are not ranked higher than you, I think you're gonna have to win the whole thing.
And again, at that point, then I want Louisville, so we get at least one win off of them, and kind of you're kind of salvaging that series at that point.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Let's say you beat Virginia Tech, Duke, and you get this win against, let's say it's Louisville.
Yeah,
but you don't win the game against whoever is that the championship game.
UNC.
You're 12th right now. Is getting those 3 wins not enough to bump you up 4 spots?
I mean, look, this is not the best example, but look at 22. We made it to the championship game, and it had 0 effect on the full outcome of the season.
So there's precedent there. Yeah.
It's a different precedent, I will say, but.
So that's what I'm saying. You got to have that needle mover. If you face Clemson and you beat Clemson, that's a needle mover.
Right.
And then if you go and face UNC and you win if you win an ACC championship, that's a needle mover. No matter who you face to get there, if you win an ACC championship, that's a needle mover.
And it doesn't move the needle as much if it's Wake Forest because you already swept them. But again, to the same point that I've been making over and over again, then that would be 3 against Carolina that you won, 3 out of 4 against the national host team.
Well, and again, like literally, if you beat Duke, and sorry, Michael, go ahead and you can make your point.
The only way we could play Wake is in the championships. So.
Correct. Same with Carolina.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so I'm sitting here saying, like, again, you beat Duke and UNC. If you have to face Louisville, and then if FSU upsets Wake Forest, UNC, whatever, like, yeah, none of those teams are. Well, FSU's a solid RPI builder, but it's not a record breaker. But at the end of the day, if you win ACC championship, I dare the NCAA to not put a team that is an ACC champion and with the resume that we have as a top 8 seed. I dare them.
Yeah, I would be. I would genuinely be surprised at that point as well.
Yeah. So honestly, for me, it really does sound really simple, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I mean,
it's all in front of us.
It's all in front of us. Exactly. So first of all, just go win the ACC championship. Why not win it all? Well,
leave no doubts.
Right? That's right. Leave no doubts. Yep. Michael, I know you've put out a lot of great stats here recently, man. Is there any stat that you are hanging your hat on the most right now for NC State baseball right now?
I mean, it's just the series wins when you look at it. I mean, if we're saying best argument for being a top 8 seed, it's got to be the series wins. You're 5-0-1 against ranked teams, and like that's just, I don't think there's any team in the country on the wins side. I wanted to point that out because some people are like, well, you don't have better overall. I said, yes, but the wins side of the resume, I don't think there's anyone in the country who has better series wins than State.
Yep. No, that's factual.
If I'm not mistaken, you play 8 ACC series. Is that correct?
10.
Is it 10? Yeah, that's right. That makes sense because you're 30 games. If you took the first 4 or 5 ACC series compared to the last 5 or 6 ACC series, it's night and day. It's not even close. The what this team has done from a pitching perspective, it's not the same team. There's no and your schedule got harder.
Right.
Right.
Our easy and harder. Yes,
a lot harder.
Our first half of our ACC schedule was very light. So not only we got better against better competition.
Yeah. No, you're literally sharpened on steel.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what this team did. They sharpened on steel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's very, very exciting. Again, I think that, and again, just like we were saying earlier, I mean, Duke was one of those series we faced in the early part that we still won the series against. When, again, I guarantee you, when Duke faces us, they're going to be like, that's not the team we faced back in March 22nd.
No, and it took a miracle 9th inning to get one of those games. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So feeling very, very good about our chances. Definitely. It's so tough because for us, typically, here, let's put it this way. Would you guys rather have a top eight seed or an AC championship?
ACC championship. Not even question.
Yeah. I wouldn't even blink at that.
In this case, they do go hand in hand because if you win an ACC,
even if they say,
but in 21, we went on the road in a super regional and won and made it to Omaha. So I don't give a damn where we play the games at.
Yeah,
but
championship for sure.
I'll add the caveat to it that the NCAA says if you win an AC championship, you can't be higher than 9. Like, again, this
I'm okay
is totally
with that. Because here's the thing, who you match up against as a 9 seed, you still may end up hosting a super regional.
Yeah, it's true. Here's my thing.
Yeah, there's no guarantee.
I want to do something. I want LA Avent to win a championship.
Hell yeah.
That's it. That's all I care. When you say that's like, dude, just ride off in the sunset, retire after this year, even if that's the case. I don't even care.
And it's apples to oranges, and we've talked about it. It feels like this is the year it's got to be done, right? Because of all the other things that have gone NC State's way. This feels, with everything, all the hype surrounding all the other programs, it's like Avent has waited the longest to do this. Yeah. So it's his time to go lift a damn trophy.
Well, and to even go even further is that keeping in mind that, again, I'm fully 100% focused on this year and what this team can accomplish this year. But we've said it before that, I mean, if we can hold on to most all of these guys, especially these freshmen that we have,
class,
watch out next year, man. Holy crap. Watch out next year.
They're going to have to get their power hitters next year. They're going to have to figure that part out.
Sosa's going to be a power hitter.
Well, I know that. I get it. But that's one.
So right. You're replacing Kozart with Sosa, essentially, literally.
Kozart, okay, Pennington, so then who's Pennington, Makarevich, and those kind of guys. So you're going to have to go get some more guys. You know what I'm saying?
Tommy Tanks might come back.
Sosa. That'd be awesome.
Whoa, Greg, are you kidding me right now?
Cut that dude's mic.
Get off. Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
You really grinds my gears.
Craig's smart ass remarks.
Freaking Tanks. Yeah. No. No, but agreed. Yeah. No. So yeah, I mean, but again, I mean, like just put a couple extra diamonds on that beautiful ring. It is set up beautifully if we can hold on to it for next year.
Look, I'm still standing by my tweet or post or whatever we call them now. Like I said 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, Sosa is going to be the key cog in this run. And you see him, he's starting. You mentioned it in the live stream earlier tonight that after that slump, he's just been tearing the cover off the ball. And baseball is that way. You just got to see one drop. You got to see one go over the fence. You just need a little luck. And
it started against Norfolk State, right?
Yeah, that's really when he started to break out against it.
So it's like,
and I think that was the night I actually sent that tweet out, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been maybe a couple days before that, but yeah,
so basically it's all because of you, Greg. Yeah.
No, but it is. Stay humble, kid.
Hashtag stay humble.
Hashtag stay
That's
humble.
right. All right, Wolfpack Nation. So with that being said, again, so our first game will be against Virginia Tech on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. at Truist Field in Charlotte, and then the following day, 24 hours later, Thursday night, we'll face number 6 seed Duke, 7 p.m. And so again, basically, it all comes down to who wins versus Virginia Tech and Duke. But either way, y'all, make sure, again, to go get your tickets. Go online through the Charlotte Knights website. You can get your tickets from there. And tickets are still available, so go and take advantage of it. And let's go paint Charlotte red, y'all. Let's go paint this thing red, and let's go play through Sunday. Why not? Let's go make it happen, and let's go raise that title over our heads, and then you're locked into a top 8 seed right there, right then, right now. No matter what daggone ECU fans say, no, you're not a lock. You're not a lock. You're not a lock because of that.
We beat y'all twice.
Anyway, y'all. Yeah, we beat y'all twice, even though we have the number 66 strength schedule in the country.
They beat y'all twice.
Yeah, even though we face nobody besides NC State.
Don't mind us. We got swept by Tulane, but it's okay.
That is a bonus episode of Really Grinds My Gears.
I think we need to do a preview show when they do not make it as a host.
Ooh, that'd be good.
They may not even win the conference. They didn't win it last year, I don't think. I think Tulane won it last year.
Nope.
Tulane. I came in on they won 10 games last year.
Yep. All right, Wolfpack Nation. So for us, if you haven't already, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and definitely make sure if you haven't already, hit that like button, y'all. Again, it really helps us a lot, and really, just makes it very, very clear that you love NC State baseball, y'all. So if you love NC State baseball, hit that like button and make sure to give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. And let's go get this huge win. Let's go raise that trophy, y'all. Go Pack, y'all.
Go Pack.